Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life, live from Amsterdam. This is episode number 217 at scavengerlife.com.
And it's a nice Saturday afternoon. We have a second floor apartment right above kind of a busy street, so you might be hearing people shouting and talking and
drinking.
Bike bells going by.
Right.
But it's cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
How has your week been, Ryan?
It's been good. Actually been doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I just think that's how we do it.
Yeah.
I think we've been enjoying ourselves, but also, we've been taking some time out to do some work.
Yeah, but I think it's good because, we are true scavengers, so... like we the other day, it's been kind of rainy and cold, so we're like, okay, there's a cool little cafe across the street that has Wi-Fi and snacks and coffee. So we're like, let's just grab our computers, walk across the street, be in a more social environment, and list on eBay. But it was so funny because, we both got drinks, we both got snacks, and it was like $20.
Yeah.
Which, it's just funny because I'm like, oh, that's why, scavenger mentality comes out, and you're like, oh, that's why we're scavengers, because this is just a snack. Like, if you were going out, every meal and doing all this stuff, you'd be spending so much money. So
right.
That's why we keep it, super low-key most of the time.
Yeah, we try and cook a lot of our
meals. We cook a lot. That's
what
I'm saying. We cook a lot, we work at home, and then we'll take big, long walks and do stuff.
Yeah.
But, in general, we're pretty frugal.
I think this week it just reminded me why I enjoy taking these trips and just renting an apartment and being somewhere. We don't go to a lot of it's museums. It's like we talked about.
Yeah.
It's more about I just really love, and I've always enjoyed this to go to its new places and it reminds me that people are just struggling day to day everywhere.
Yeah.
Back home it's the same. We're here.
Right.
And just people. I've been to different countries. It's just the same everywhere.
Yeah.
When you aren't in that tourist mode, you just see how people are living day today, and I like that. I like to remind myself of that,
Right. Well, yeah, I think part of us staying in a place for a long time, we're going to be here in Amsterdam for 3 weeks total, is to feel what it feels like to be here. Granted, we don't have a job here, and we're not trying to make a rent here, although we kind of are because we're paying.
No, but because we're just focused on just living in a neighborhood and walking around,
right.
We get to see how people are living, and that it's. Really looks like back home.
Right.
Just people are working and hanging out with their families and with their friends. Daily life just looks about like what it looks like at home.
Right.
Just some of the circumstances are
you just happen to be in a gorgeous historical,
right.
European city.
Sure. But people might be where we live and be like, wow, you live
yes.
in the beautiful countryside.
Right,
so.
in the mountains. And yeah, exactly. You try to see a different perspective a little bit.
Also, too, I think I just want to remind people, the reason why we're able to do this is because we're, scavengers for traveling, like Ryan was talking about. We're really here because we do have a job. We have a job in Barcelona.
Yes.
So, we still do some work from our career jobs.
Yeah.
We do a video, web video work.
Yeah.
And this one, its client hires us twice a year.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about them is they don't care when we come over. So
right.
They pay for our travel, but they don't care if we fly out the day before the job or a month before the job. Because
it costs the same.
So it's perfect for us because we have the kind of lifestyle, this eBay lifestyle, where we can say, let's go a month early.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing, and that's why we're able to afford this trip.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just like, how can you do that? And a huge part of it is our airfare is paid for by the client that we're working for at the end of the month. And the other part about it is being super scavenger while we're here.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going out to eat every meal. It's just, that's impossible. You'd be spending so much money.
Right. And so,
you know.
And so actually I've been doing these numbers, and we'll probably spend about $3,000
right
for this whole, it's about a month long.
It's 30 days, yeah.
30 days.
And that includes food, travel if we take train, train around.
Right, so we're going to Paris, so it takes, so the train to Paris or Barcelona, hotel in Paris.
Right.
30 days or about 20 days it's rented 2 Amsterdam apartments.
Yes.
And,
and food.
And food.
So all that together,
money.
yeah.
So it's about $100 a day.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
I think that is pretty
cool.
I think that's pretty frugal. I mean, now that you break it down, I'm like, that's so much money. But
hell, people spend $3,000
just on airfare,
plane tickets.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. So basically, it evens out.
Yeah, and and that's the interesting thing. Like when we do go and do that job in Barcelona, it's like at a conference. And we work with other people in this conference environment.
We call them conference hounds.
Yeah, and I don't know, there might be people out there that kind of work in this industry, but it's like, there's like this subculture of people who work at conferences doing technical work and producing event organization, and they basically just go from one event to another. So like we're going to, see these people as we know well, and they will have just flown from like Orlando. Yeah. And they fly to Barcelona, they stay for a week and they do the job. Yeah. And they're good at what they do. And then they fly to Vegas. Yeah. Or to San Diego. Yep. Or Atlanta, And
some of them do stay a little bit extra, but not a month extra.
Right.
They'll stay like a week if they can do it.
So we really feel grateful that we've been able to carve out a life where we can, pick and choose when we work, and when we do get flown places, we can stay for a longer period of time. Like, in the spring, we're going to be going to New Orleans for a job, and we're talking about that, about
staying longer.
A longer period of time.
Yeah. And
it's pretty cool.
That is cool. I love New Orleans. It's a great city.
Yeah.
We've been there for a conference before.
Yeah.
But we know people there, so we were able to hang out and see the city more.
And so the apartment where we're staying now, we have to leave in about a week.
Yeah.
Because the people who we're renting from are coming back from it's vacation.
We wish they weren't, but...
So this is the interesting thing. So we needed to find a place to stay for a week. So I go on Airbnb, and it's tough because, you're competing with other people. It's a short, it's pretty soon, so a lot of places are booked. So, so I've learned to just use Airbnb like we use Craigslist, where it's my search anytime I'm at my computer and see if it's new pops up.
And I think you said Airbnb was also pointing out new listings.
Right. So it's just like Craigslist. Yeah. You just have a search, and it refresh that search, and you just see if something
pops up.
A new is popped up.
But it says new on it.
Right.
It's not just like, there's another one in the corner. It like says it on there, so okay, I haven't seen that one before.
Absolutely.
That's very helpful. I never saw that before. But of course, I'm not usually searching in like urban areas.
So I probably spent about 3 hours over a period of time doing a search and writing to people.
Well, the funny thing is people were like, their calendars were wide open, and we'd be like, great, we need to rent next week. Not available.
Yeah, there's a shadow inventory.
Yeah.
So I found a place, and again, it's another couple that just happened to be going out of town on its vacation. I spent about 3 hours. I found it, and we're renting it for a week, and we're paying about $1,000, so about $150 a night.
Right.
But it's for an entire apartment. It's super nice.
Yeah.
Shower, bathroom, kitchen.
Private,
totally private, a washer. I mean, if you were to try and get a hotel like that, it'd be like $500 a night. So as a scavenger, I guess that's my point. We could have just gone and gotten a hotel, get it exactly right when you want it no
Sure.
problem.
Right.
Or would you be a scavenger, spend a little bit more time, and you get a lot more for less.
And another part about it, too, was we were debating, if we can't find a place in Amsterdam, well, we need to, get a train ticket earlier, go to Barcelona early. We were flexible enough that we're like, it's cheaper in Barcelona. There's more apartments available right now because it's the end of the summer. So it was all kind of up in the air. It made me a little bit nervous, actually. But then you found a place, and then I was like, okay, now I had to find train tickets, Then I had to figure that out, and that was nerve-wracking, too. But it worked out, so.
Don't be so nervous.
I get nervous about details like this.
Nervous?
It's like puzzle pieces that have to fit together perfectly.
I guess I see it in a different way. I'm like, we have so much time to figure all this stuff out.
Yeah.
It's just money. I mean, that's really, it's what it is. It's like, I think when I hear it, you say I'm nervous, it's more about...
It's about money.
Can we get what we want for cheap?
Cheap, yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't get as nervous because ultimately, as long as you're willing to pay,
you can
get
do it.
Anything you want.
Well, and that's my problem is I'm not willing to pay. I mean, the that clearly. Right. But the train tickets too, the cool thing about train tickets is if you get them way ahead of time, they're super cheap. But this is like 2 weeks ahead of time because we were like, we don't know what our schedule is like. So it was a little bit pricey. But I'm excited to take a train from Amsterdam to Paris to Barcelona. Yeah. That's once in a lifetime thing that you can do. Yeah. So, why not do it?
We might even do it twice in a lifetime.
We might. Well, we one time took a train. It was an overnight train from Prague to Amsterdam, and that was pretty amazing.
So people are listening to this and thinking, like, what are these people talking about? There's nothing to do with eBay, so it's kind of true. But it is about our eBay lifestyle, and currently we are full-time eBayers who are
yes.
We are selling from the road, and so we'll talk about that right now. Our flagship eBay store.
I love that term. It sounds so funny.
We sold about $900 in that store.
Oh, God, it's so depressing.
It was slow. It's still early on a Saturday, so that's $900 up until now. There could be stuff that sells later today, but you know, it's just we had a couple really good days, like where we made like $300 and $400, and then we had a couple days where we barely made $100. Yep. So just when I feel things are picking up again, they
drop down again. I know. And last night we sold a bunch of stuff on our smaller store, and I'm like, yay! And then it's been quiet for hours.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, we have a 30-day handling time, which we actually just changed to 15 since we're since getting closer to going home. And it's in business days.
Yeah, so we're hoping that cutting it down to 15 will help. But that's still a long time.
So in our second store, we sold $300 worth of stuff. So combined, we made $1,200. Okay. And for me, I'm super grateful. Yeah. That's amazing that we're away. Yeah. People have to wait a long time to get their stuff, and we still sold that much stuff.
No, that's good. That's good.
We only had 2 people, so we sold a total of 32 things, and we only had 2 people ask for their money back after they found out it was going to take a month for them to get their item. Yeah, and some of those things were like hardware-related items, which we understand. We went to that you went to that hardware auction, and stuff like that is like people need it for a project right then. So I understand that. So, our experience has been, it's like 1 in 10 buyers will want their money back when they find out they have to wait. So that's about right. We sold 30, we only had 2 people.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's, to me, is pretty good.
Yeah. Now, I just want to mention real quick, we've been listing, and our second store hit 500 items. Yep. While we were listing this week. That's right. In a little cafe. Yep. 500 items. Yeah. And
so we're at that point where, my math in the old days was once you hit 500 items, we should be making $2,000 a month, which would be $500 a week. We haven't really hit $500 a week, but it has been the slowness of summer. So we'll see.
I hope we hit $500 a week.
We still made great. $300 this week.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So let's talk about things that we sold this week.
Yes. So one hilarious thing that we sold was this mug. it was these aerobic workout teddy bears. And I remember when I was a kid in the 80s, I had this t-shirt with these workout teddy bears on it. It was this whole thing in the 80s. And I just knew someone would want this eventually. It only sold for $13. And it took, how long did it take?
It was
3 years.
It was on there since 2012.
3 years.
So I just wanted to quickly break that down because people are always like, why do you leave something up that long? Okay, so let's say it was 5 cents a month to keep up. That's how much we pay for a month per listing. So it costs us $2.20 in
to keep it listed.
A listing fees. Then if you think eBay takes and PayPal take about 13%, so that's $1.70. Mm-hmm. So we still made $10. That's kind
of amazing because.
So sorry, we probably made about $9. Off of that.
And that's one of those things where, again, it was just something I found for like 10 cents at a yard sale.
Right.
And I listed it and I completely forgot about it.
We didn't even think about it.
I didn't even think, I saw it on the shelf because I know where it is. And someone bought it and someone wanted it and it's hilarious. So another cool sale was we sold 50 bottles of nail polish and we took a best offer at $5 each. So that was a total of $250.
So these are, for those of you keeping score, we had gone to a store that sold old paint and doors and stuff like that, and they happened to have nail polish for some reason, and we bought all of it. So we bought almost 800 bottles of nail polish.
So we spent $300.
Right.
So we sold a lot of 10. And then we sold this lot. So these sales have pretty much paid for.
Right. So it's with this, we've now paid for all of those bottles. So we have about 600 bottles of nail polish left.
God.
We have them up for $10 each. They sell for about $15 new.
I think I have them up for $12.
Ours are new. I guess when people buy 10
it gets cheaper. It gets cheaper with the lots. Yeah, you're right.
But, we sold these for half of that.
Yeah,
so,
and we still made money.
Yeah. So it's, it's really is kind of a long-range strategy, a lot of this stuff. So,
and, I thought about selling it on Amazon, but it's a restricted category like health and beauty, and you have to be like a seller that gets special permission. So that kind of sucks because I was like, these would be perfect for FBA.
And very often it seems like they want to see some kind of piece of paper that says is where you bought it from.
Right,
and, we just bought it from basically like a junk shop.
Yeah. So we also sold 2 leather biker jackets. One was a very distressed biker jacket that we found at a thrift store. We sold that for a best offer of $100. And then we had this other biker jacket that was, it looked pretty pristine, and it was a 3XL. I think we had it up for $300, but we took a half price offer because we've had it for a while.
Right. And actually, it's one of those, it's newer ones, like made in China, where it's leather, but it really isn't like the same kind of quality.
It's not vintage. Yeah, it's probably like Wilson's leather or something, but we sold that for $150, so that was good. Another funny sale was an 1864 buffalo penny. So that's the Civil War, right? Yes. So that's still the Civil War. So I guess it was a Union penny. And I sold that penny for $25.
And it wasn't, I think you just found it
I found it in a purse.
There you go.
So it was one of those things where I was like, I'm just going to try to sell this. Right. I know people buy coins.
It wasn't like fancy, it wasn't like new or whatever you call it. Like
barely circulated.
Right. It was just like this random penny.
I don't even think you can find 1800s coins that are uncirculated, maybe, but this was definitely worn. You could not see the mark of what mint it was from, which a lot of coin collectors care about. And with the buffalo penny, is it buffalo or Indian head? I think it's the same thing. There's this particular one, I think if it has an S on it, it's like a really big deal or something. Like somebody, I'm sure Chris the Coin Guy will comment. But anyway, it wasn't one of those. But I'm happy to sell a penny for $25, certainly. Yeah. So, another sale was another pair of Ferragamos. We took a best offer of $90. I believe that it was up for $150, but again, slow sales. We'll take offers. $90 is a great offer.
And we just mentioned this because we had, over a course of about 6 months, we've been buying a lot of them. We just ran across them in people's closets in estate sales. Yeah. Because it's kind of like I don't say like it's an older lady style, but it's definitely like
it's more high-end.
High-end, like
you go to Nordstrom's and you buy that.
Right.
And a lot of, I know that young people wear them, but it's like, we're finding them in older women's, closets.
And so we put up I think we enlisted almost 20 pairs of them. So we've been selling them pretty
for high prices. And I'm willing to sit on them because I want higher prices. People sell Ferragamos for $20, $20-$30.
Yeah.
I'm not selling my Ferragamos for that low because I know I can get a higher price.
So out of the 19 items that we sold this week in our flagship store, 6 of those were coats or were, like
jackets,
a winter stuff. So that stuff
we've been listing
selling.
that stuff too.
Yeah.
So something that I listed this week in our smaller store, and you guys have heard me mention this, I think it was like a year ago. The Villager is a clothing brand that was quite popular in the 60s and 70s.
It's like a preppy look.
Yeah, right? It's like this preppy look. And a lot of you who are listening wore Villager stuff when you were younger. I know my mom did. And so I had a Villager wallet a year ago that I listed. And I listed it for $86. It's not a wallet. It's like a coin purse, like a little clutch. And it sold for $86 in an hour. So this was a similar one, but it was corduroy. The other one was wool, so it was kind of a higher quality, but this was corduroy. And I have a particular person who buys only Villager stuff, and they bought Villager stuff from me for years, ever since we started. So I recognize their name immediately.
And because that company, they teamed up with that other guy,
John Mayer of Norwich, Connecticut. He actually was the designer for Villager, before he had his own line. So I actually think he designed this. I forgot about that. I forgot how much I had listed the other one for. I didn't look it up when I was listing. I don't know why I didn't look it up, but I listed it for $60. I was like, that's a good price. I'm sure one of my Villager people is going to get it instantly. And sure enough, while we were asleep and the U.S. was awake, this particular person bought it for $60. So I'm happy with that. Although this morning you heard me saying, oh, damn, I should have looked up
So knowing what you know now, how much would you have put
I would have doubled that price, I think.
$110?
Yeah, I would have put it up for that much. But the problem is, and this is what was going through my mind, I've had this person who buys Villager from me before bargain with me on some things. So I was like, she's going to ask for a lower price, and I'm going to give it to her. So I might as well just give her the price that I'd give her, so $60. And she bought it. So that's always interesting when you're like, I knew that lady would buy it. That one person,
Customer issues this week.
Yes.
So even though we're traveling, we still, that's part of our business is we're still communicating immediately with people that message us. So we had one issue.
Yeah, and, this is one of those issues where I called it the second this thing sold. I knew this would happen, or I had a very, very sure feeling that this might happen. So the neon bar light, the beer light, my person messaged me and said, it turns on part of the way. The glass wasn't broken, everything looked fine, but one part of it did not turn on. So that's good in a way. It didn't get shattered. My packing was good enough. But I did put full insurance through USPS, and I did a little experiment, which I don't think Jay agrees with, but I told the customer to make the claim because USPS gives you that choice. It can be the customer or the seller. And part of that was I'm afraid of making too many claims. I wanted to just be like, make a claim, show that it doesn't turn on all the way, and show the packaging. And, he did it. I don't think he was happy about it because he was like, I have another claim with USPS and they're taking forever. They take at minimum 2 weeks to pay out a claim if they pay out a claim. So I told him that, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think my thing is just, customers or buyers, like, they don't want to wait. Like, they aren't patient. And so my fear is that they aren't going to be patient enough, and then they're going to be like, this is taking too long. They open a case with eBay, and they just push for a refund right away. And then because he started the claim, we can't start a claim too. Claim, yeah. And so if he doesn't follow through, it's with the claim, we don't make the money.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I mean, that's a problem.
I have a theory about that. If I called eBay and was like, he opened a claim with USPS and he's waiting for that, I feel like they'd be like, okay, then, they'll back me up on that. But I don't know. I mean, we just have to see what happens. And
I mean, but the thing is like with that guy in France who said he didn't get the item. Yeah. He opened up a PayPal case. PayPal gave him his money back. Right. Then the buyer has no incentive to help it with the claim. Right. And then we got lucky because we were the one dealing it with the claim. Right. A ship saver gave us our money. So I just feel like in these insurance claims, we have to be in the driver's seat.
Right, so that we have control over whether we get it back or not. Yeah.
I mean, that's often been the case with the postal service. We just give them a refund.
And then we deal with the...
We deal with the postal. And I feel like we are doing so many... we pay for so much insurance on so many items. I mean, we made 2 claims, I think, this year. I mean, if even that.
Yeah, it might be 2.
So
yeah, that's true.
Saying. I mean, I see where you're coming from, but
I think I'm nervous because ship cover insurance, that other one, they denied us after making 9 claims over like 5 years. Right. They were like, you can no longer use our service. So I'm like, I get scared.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
So
we'll see. I mean, basically, we just take it a step at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Worst thing that happens is you do a refund. I mean, that's...
Yeah, exactly. So, and the other good thing is lately what we've been doing is calling eBay and getting advice. What's the best thing for me to do at this juncture? And then go from there.
So this past week, what did we do? We kind of have mentioned a couple of those things. It was slow. Yeah. So like we always say, when it's slow, we put our energy and our fear and all of that into
listing.
And because we've talked about this, it's when I'm at home and I take photos, I put all the info in Google Docs. So I write a title, I do its measurements, and I weigh it.
And you say anything that needs, there's a hole on this side.
It's defects, and then those are in a Google Doc by folders. And so that's what we did. We sat in these, either the apartment or in these
2 cafes,
and we elicited 125 things.
We really were.
And I actually elicited a little bit. I listed about maybe 20% of that.
Yeah. I'm a lot faster.
You're much faster.
So I am fast because I can skim the listing and be like, okay, I know all my, regular settings don't have to get changed, and I'm good to go. But I think you are taking more time to make sure all your item specifics are there. And,
well, I just think because you're accustomed to it and you're just doing it, and I'm still like, it's not part of what I do. Yeah. So I'm like being much more cautious.
Exactly.
Also, we are not putting a lot of info in the description area. Right. We just copy and paste its measurements, but I caught myself still wanting to type stuff like, this is a cool jacket, it's got lots of pockets, and I'd have to be like, I don't have to, we aren't doing that. Yeah, we're just doing the title and its measurements.
There were a couple times where I'd be like, this is such a cute set, just because I'm like, this is cute, but it takes 2 seconds to do that, but
it'll keep you cozy.
It'll keep you good, man. In the beginning, when we first started and we did like clothes, jackets and sweaters. It was like
each one said,
it'll sure to keep you cozy. Jay always thought that was so funny. I'd be like,
we should probably change it.
I'm like, sure to keep you cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also feel like with listing, and this sounds really bizarre, it's almost like muscle memory.
Yeah.
Like the way your hands and your eyes and your brain move together.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, because I can see it. Like every time I'm listing, I'm like doing the same hand gestures.
Well, so that's why I like our system of me taking photos and writing that stuff in Google Docs, because then when we're here, we can list, and we'll probably list everything I took photos of, and this is really a big deal. I never thought we would get to a period where we're listing faster than we can take pictures.
Yeah.
So we have 15 folders of things that we can list, and we'll probably do it because we've been listing maybe 3 or 4 folders every time we sit down.
So we've listed a total of 8 folders.
Right, so about 125
So we've done
items.
half. Yeah, and some folders have 40 items, but some folders have 10.
So it's cool.
So other stuff that we've been doing, we take a lot of walks. When the weather is nice and it's not raining, it's been raining a couple days, but when the sun comes out, we're like, let's just walk around.
There is nothing more fun to me than just to take 2 or 3 hours and just walk around these little small streets, and we're walking in neighborhoods with these old 1600s buildings.
Oh my God. The thing about a city like this is just every building is so amazing. And it again, we've said this before, but someone said it right when we got here. They said, Amsterdam's like this little village, and it totally feels like that. You can walk the whole city in a very little time, and, there are no high rises. You just feel like you're in this little, magical village.
Yeah, and that's also in the old part of town.
Yeah, sure.
There is, the suburbs where it's
newer high rises and stuff like that.
But that being said, we're also, every time we go out, we, of course, are scavenging, and we're looking in the trash that people put out on the side of the road. We went to go eat with some friends, and we found a housewarming gift in the trash.
Yeah, so this apartment building had, they had taken down all these IKEA, track lighting, and we were like, oh my God, I wish we could take that. Those are great they're expensive lights, There was 4 of them. And we knew someone would take them.
And there's furniture.
There's furniture and stuff. And then there was this super cute little IKEA tray, an IKEA tray that you would put salt and pepper and tea
condiments,
or something. Yeah, condiments on your table. And it was so cute, and it was this floral design. It was blue and white, and he just moved. Him and his girlfriend just moved to their apartment. So we're like, here, we got this gift, and he's like, did you go to IKEA? IKEA is so far outside the city, and we're like, no, we found it. So it was really cute.
He could appreciate it.
Yeah, he knew.
And we also found we found a bunch of stuff, but also one cool thing we found was a bag of clothes.
Yeah. So this is the beauty of cities. People know that other people will grab a bag of clothes because there's so many young people, and this person had put this bag of clothes.
Clean clothes,
tons of stuff. This bag was a trash bag full, all clean.
H&M stuff.
It was all H&M and Hema, which is kind of like an H&M type, Netherlands store. And it was so funny because it was exactly my size. I tried stuff on and I was like, this fits me perfect. I found a dress. I found linen shorts. I found a bunch of t-shirts and tank tops. A pair of pink jeans that I would never buy myself, but I've been wearing them all week. An H&M Disney sweater. So I'm going to obviously sell that. I wore it today because it was cold out, but it was actually awesome. I was like, I would never buy this stuff, but I would totally wear it. So we found that for free.
I found an old, a newspaper boy bag, it's
it's like a messenger bag,
right?
Basically,
but but it has the logo of the biggest. It's newspaper.
What's it called? The Telegraph.
It's canvas. It's really nice, and it's what they would
it's like a delivery bag.
Yeah. Cool.
But it's like a messenger bag, so we've been carrying it around with us to carry groceries.
It was just on the side of the road.
And it was free. Well, it was really musty smelling, so you did wash it.
Yep.
So that helped, but that was fun.
And what's interesting is you did find a dress.
Yeah, I found a dress. It's like a linen dress with it looks like a button-up shirt, but it goes down.
Right.
And it's got pockets in the front. I think it's from it's like an H&M type thing.
And so you thought, I need some tights with that. So we went and bought some tights.
So I wanted leggings.
Right.
Which are different than tights. Tights are more
see-through.
See-through. And leggings are more opaque, almost like pants. But we kept walking by this shop on the street, this little boutique, and she had these tights that were purple with white birds all over it. And they're knit leggings, but they're tights. And I was like, I have to get those with that dress, And it was expensive. It was €30, which to me is a grocery trip,
It's
It's
$40.
It's $40. Yeah. I would never. But then I'm I found $100 worth of free clothes on the street. So
right.
I'm trying to have that balance it out,
It's a good splurge.
Yeah.
We always walk through. There really are not the thrift stores here like there would be in
not
America.
At all.
There are vintage clothing stores, but they're not very cheap. But when you go in there, it's 90% American vintage clothes. They have t-shirts and jackets and Leatherman coats with American
stuff logos, American towns like Nashville, Tennessee.
Things from public schools. And it really, our country, America, is just bleeding so much stuff that what happens is these people will buy pallets full of these old clothes, bring them here and sell them in their vintage shops. And then maybe 10% is a vintage German clothes or
right.
Dutch.
It's rare.
But they just don't have the amount
the volume,
of stuff. Right.
The volume. And it's so funny because going in there, they're all those trucker hats that we sell where it's Jeb's Automotive, somewhere in Kentucky. I'm
here.
That's what they buy here. That's why when we sell them, it's global shipping.
Yeah, we were going through the coats that had all these logos from American towns. We were trying to find if any of them were near us.
And some of them were.
Leesburg,
Virginia. I was there you go.
It's interesting too. So we there's I guess there's a big antique mall.
Yeah, it's an antique mall.
It's really cool stuff.
Oh,
very expensive.
It's very expensive. It's vintage silver, Dutch silver. Stuff that you're just I cannot afford any of this. But
old paintings.
Delft tiles, from the 1700s.
So we've been, wondering how you find auctions or estate sales. Do they have those things here? I've asked our friends, and our friends here, they're involved in that world. So we found this guy. He worked at this antique mall.
Yeah.
He was English, but he's been in Holland for
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
So I asked him to give us a lowdown, and he said there are no... Because he understood what we were talking about.
Yeah, we're where are the estate sales?
He said that there are no estate sales. He said there are no auctions the way as we think of it. He says that when someone dies, the families come and take most of everything. So, and then they sell sometimes the higher end stuff, and those go to higher end auctions, and those auctions only happen 4 times every a year, and that would probably be the silver, the art. But there aren't auctions like we think of, like neighborhood auctions,
junk auctions.
Where does the stuff go in the cabinets and the silverware and the plates? And he just said the families take all. They take all
that. They're so thrifty. They're we'll take it. So the high end stuff goes to Christie's, because they're that oil painting that's been in the family for hundreds of years. You know, there's not just the junky stuff gets taken by the family or given to the Kringloop Winkle or whatever.
And there really aren't yard sales as we think of it very often. There's one day a year, I think
it's called King's Day.
Queen's Day.
Well, the Queen is not in power anymore. It's King.
Okay,
it's changed now that she gave the power to her
So there's
son.
one day where everyone sells their junk on the street.
Yeah, it's in April, I think.
But it's not like in America where there's just like every weekend, like starting Thursday, there's
it's like everywhere.
Yeah.
All the time. But yeah, it's funny.
You know, so it was good to get that info, and he talked about how he sells specifically tiles, like the old...
Yeah, the Delft tiles.
And he says the way he buys these from is that when a house gets modernized...
Yes.
The construction workers are given the tiles as a bonus. So the construction workers on their lunch break will go where the tiles are, you know, in the wall, and they'll ship them away on their own time.
Right.
And then they take them and sell them to guys like him as their bonus.
Exactly.
It's really kind of an interesting ecology, you know, for how that stuff gets saved.
Yeah, it's fascinating because we're like, doesn't everyone who owns a house that's modernizing it want to save those? No, they totally
it's just
don't.
like in America where we are, people will take an old house and they have all this beautiful heartwood pine wood or these mantles, and they're like, just get
rid of it. It's old. It's junky. So. Yeah. Oh, I also thought it was interesting because we talked to him for a while, which was great because there are a lot of people who just don't. I don't know if it's like a Dutch thing or just older generation thing. They don't want to like hang out and talk to you, but this guy was great. He was telling us that Delft tiles, like when they paint them, because they're blue and white, when they paint them, they're black. But when they get fired, there's a chemical reaction and it turns blue. I never knew that. I thought that was so fascinating. I loved hearing about that. I wanted to talk to him all day, but they were closing. Yeah. We were like, let's talk about everything.
So, but the cool thing is we're going to be going to a big flea market that we went to a year ago. We're going to go next Saturday, a Sunday.
And we realized we were pronouncing it wrong. This Dutch woman, we tried to explain the flea market. We're like, we're going to go to the flea market. And she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, yeah. Because you're pronouncing it wrong. It's really funny.
Just a real quick bit of news. Mark had sent me a note about PayPal that they made an announcement. I think this has been true for a while, but there was actually a page about it, and I'll link to it. So PayPal has a purchase protection where you have a full 180 days from the date of payment to its report a problem. So that's 6 months.
Yeah.
But why don't we break this down real quick?
Yeah.
99.99999% of buyers will never use this. You know, PayPal doesn't want a lot of stuff it's returned. They aren't doing this because they're trying to cause a hassle.
Yeah.
They're just trying to make buyers feel so confident that they will buy and not worry about it. And people want to buy and keep it.
Yeah.
But there are rules on this page, and I'll go from it real quick. You can only do this if you were charged for something that you didn't actually buy. Okay, that's good.
So that's like a fraudulent thing.
You bought something and your order doesn't ever come.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. Your order arrives, but it's significantly different than it was described. And they actually give some examples. For instance, you purchased a book but got a DVD. Okay, that's cool. The listing said batteries included, but they weren't.
Okay.
And you purchased 5 pairs of dice and you only got 4. Mm-hmm. And you bought a beautiful lamp, but it came in pieces. You brought a Rolex, but you got a Folex.
Folex.
I mean, so I feel like the rules are for significant problems, not just if you sell an item to a person and they're like, I don't want this. You know, it's not for they feel like they want to return it. So to me, it's okay that it's such a long period of time because I think it's good. If it makes people feel more confident
in buying, exactly.
And that's what I would want as a buyer, you know? So
yeah, no, I think it's good. And I know that sellers really freak out over that stuff because they're like, everybody's going to open a, whatever they call it, a SNAD case or whatever.
Item not described. An INAD case.
Yeah, items significantly not as described, SNAD, which I hate. But you know what? I really do not see that happening.
And we've never had that happen. I mean, the only time we had it recently was when that guy in France said he didn't get the item.
Right.
We didn't have a way it's proved one way or the other, and fair enough. Like if he doesn't get it, then he should get a refund.
But I did have insurance, so that covered us.
Yep.
But yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's talk about what our coming week will be like. What are we going to do, right? We are staying in the apartment we're in, so we don't have to move. We have about 8-ish folders to list, which has been fun and fast and a nice way to get out in the town and, overhear people's weird conversations in cafes if you can understand the language. And, there are several projects that we've been working on behind the scenes that we are trying to finish.
I mean, there's even a link on our blog.
Yeah.
We call it the Download All project.
Download All, yes.
We have 200 and something episodes.
Yeah.
And, you can go on a YouTube and play them all. You can go on our blog and play them all. But like in iTunes, it refreshes the last 20, I think.
Yeah, it's something like that.
So if someone comes to us new and wants to start from the beginning, it's not so easy. So we've been it's Ryan's been doing this, going through, getting all the files, and we're going to create this little a system where, and this will be the first time, we're going to charge for it.
Yeah.
You pay us, and you'll be able to download all of our episodes and put them on your computer.
And put them on your iPod.
Whatever you want to do with it.
I think a lot of it was people are like, I just want this on my iPhone so I can plug it in to the car when I'm driving, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And there's 200 and this is 17 episodes.
But the episodes will still be free on
everywhere
YouTube
else.
If you want to just, or on the blog too. It just means that you have to do a bit of more work to get
download
to
one by one.
So,
part of this archive is me going in and organizing and making sure the naming conventions are all the same because we used to be called something else.
And plus we have to pay, since it's not going to be on a YouTube or anywhere, we're going to have to pay to host these things somewhere.
Right. It's a lot. It's a large file.
Yeah.
Several gigs.
Right.
But we're hoping that you can download it in chunks so you won't just have one big 5 gig file or
so
whatever.
We've been wanting to do this, for over
a year
6 months.
or something. So we're hoping to finish that up very soon. Okay, so we are going to listen to some voicemails, and you can always call us at 540-407-8486 and leave us a question or a comment. You have 3 minutes to leave a message, and hopefully we'll be able to answer it. And if we don't, there are lots of people on the blog who help us answer those questions as well.
Hi, this is Angela from Texas again. I called last week about my items disappearing and the hobby seller with way too many items in her store. But anyway, I'm calling to update you. I did call eBay. I called them twice, once before I left my message last week and once after. They researched it, or they're still researching it. You know how that goes. And what they were seeing was that my items, the ones that I knew I had answered questions on, were there, but they had disappeared from active listings. I do a lot of list it and forget it, or sometimes I'll pull things and throw them in auction and they sell. So I do check my unsold items and all of that. And they said that one lady told me that she has no idea why. I called back, and that guy said that he thinks it goes back to when all my listings duplicated. I had 3 of one or 2 of another, and I wound up, I had double sales, and they were all showing. They weren't, you know how they say duplicate listings and they'll hide it. And so when I called eBay about that, because I was charged for all of those and they were all active, I wound up selling items that I had already sold. It was crazy. And this was at the beginning of the year. And they said that when they removed them, they think that they removed some that they shouldn't have or something. I don't know. So basically I have no real answers, but I did get a refund of $100 and something, which was kind of nice. But anyway, with their deepest apologies. So again, I don't really have any answers as to why, but I've been listing like crazy, and my pile of over 1,000 items to list is now about 700. I work full-time outside the home, so it is a great hobby. And the reason that it's a hobby for me, I've got to tell you, is that I like to tape. I know it's weird. I worked at a UPS store with some friends that owned it. Tape gun was my favorite, so I said, well, what can I do besides work here? Because I hate retail, is sell on eBay so I can ship. So anyway, just a little funny story. My husband laughed at me. Anyway, thanks so much for your podcast. Just wanted to update you. Thank you.
Okay, so it sounds like no one really had a good answer for you as to why your listings were missing. That's so strange. I've never seen that happen. I've never experienced that. And it sounds like the people at eBay didn't know why either. So I guess my question is, are you going to go relist all that stuff? That's not fun.
Yeah, I think just like anything, what I would do is just take it step by step and just, call them. She called them, follow up with them. The big thing is just trying to figure out which items weren't listed and then just re-list them. And then did the actual listing disappear totally? And then you have to rewrite and retake photos. So
yeah, if you have an archive, hopefully you're able to go back and grab that stuff and put it back up.
Yeah.
That's the only voicemail.
Yeah, so it was kind of a quiet week this week. On the blog, there are quite a bit of comings and goings. We posted our interview with it's Maria and Ryan, who sell on Etsy.
Now, the comments were very interesting because people were very, not divided, because some people sell on both of them, but people definitely had opinions about one or the other, or doing both.
Come on, people, let's come together. No,
I don't know. It's just different experiences.
Yeah, it's one place is better than the other. It's just, to me, it just showed that, they make a living on Etsy. It's their job. They do a full-time week into it. They make full-time cash, and it works for them, and that's awesome.
Exactly.
And I just love that the internet, you can now do that. It can be eBay, it can be Etsy, it can be Amazon. I'm sure there are other things that you can do as well. We could live just on our Airbnb income now.
Yes.
Not great, but we could pay all of our bills just with our Airbnb income. So there's different ways you can make a living now and not have to work for somebody else.
And that's what works for them. And it's I loved hearing about them doing Etsy and being super stylish, and that's what worked for them.
And some people are now doing both.
Right.
So
mixing it up, and when sales are slow on eBay, their Etsy sales are doing okay, and it's like, that's good. That's great.
All right, so you can check out our blog at scavengeralife.com. That's where we will link to the things we talked about. You can also join the conversation there where we talk to each other about things that's going on in the week. You can leave a question or comment on something that you heard here.
You can also subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube.
And also, we no longer really talk about our rental, but because we started a new blog, you can go to shampooandbooze.com, and you can hear us talk about our rental, how we make a living now.
I just posted a new episode today. So we actually interviewed our friend Mark, who lives in Amsterdam and has had experience renting as a guest and as a host on Airbnb. So that was fun.
Here in Amsterdam, yeah. And you can also call us.
Our number is 540-407-8486. And you can leave us a message.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
This is ending in 3, 2, 1. Bye.
Bye.